Welcome to Bastard Quest. I'm your game bastard, Kyle.
I am Todd.
Corey.
I'm Austin.
Today we are continuing our adventure in the Jane Austen era through Regency Cthulhu. Game from Chaosium, Inc. This is the second episode of our playthrough of Regency Cthulhu. So if you missed the first one, go back to the previous episode, listen to it. It will be greatly illuminated. All right, so who are you guys playing in this Georgian romance of terror?
Well, I am playing the one American in the group, Reverend Samuel Jennings. I'm originally from America. My sister died of the flu, but I think it was the medication what killed her.
Corey, who are you playing?
I am Miss Emma Wentworth. She's hot and ready for marriage. She's 17, but things were different then.
So she's getting on in years, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, her biological clock is ticking.
Yeah.
Sundial. It's 1800s.
Biological sundial. They had clocks.
Really?
No.
No, I'm not talking about the doomsday clock or whatever.
Corey, do you think there was just a doomsday clock over England?
It was only 15 after back then. Or a quarter of.
Very good. Thank you.
It's 10:30 to our doom.
Core blimey, it's Armageddon, isn't it?
So,
It's a long ways off. Pour another brandy.
Austin, who are you playing?
Well, I'm James Bennett, a local poet who is marginally less famous than he thought, given his last performance.
So our characters are all members of T, the Examination Association. A loose collection of interested and learned people that investigate the unknown and the unexplainable in Regency, England.
The Reverend Samuel Jennings is a member because he wants to know the secrets of Cthulhu.
I hate you so much. And these three have been dispatched to Terryford, a town south of London, to investigate the Northlake family in Northlake Hall. They were dispatched by the Count Patrick Ball, esteemed gentleman.
There's been talk of witchcraft, talk of old medieval estates being built on the same place, and we're just trying to find out what the hell is going on.
And maybe find romance.
So they've reached Terryford, arrived at Northlake Hall for the evening's entertainment. September 18th is the evening of the ball, 1813.
Never forget.
A night that will live in infamy.
Who's the original 9/11?
Back.
It might be. We don't know yet.
A barn fell down.
Meanwhile, back in the United States, it's being lorded over by President James Brandon.
So the three of you have just come in from dismounting your carriage. You've gone up the wide steps to the entrance. You're standing in the foyer. It has black and white checkerboard pattern tile on the floor, wood walls varnished to a deep dark mahogany. The interior is well lit with the new gas lamps that the Northlakes have just installed, and you are waiting in a line to be officially introduced to Sir James Northlake and his lady Lydia Northlake. There are one or two couples ahead of you. You can hear them, oh, hello, Mr. Blah, 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 guffawing and joculating.
I'm just going to point out, James Bennett, one of his descriptions on my character sheet is that he's fashionable, though not always stylishly dressed.
I see.
At first, I thought this was some sort of oxymoron, but I choose to interpret this as very ostentatious, although not always stylishly dressed.
I see. So what are you wearing?
It's a giant hat.
Okay.
Your Pharrell?
No, think like a musketeer's hat.
Oh, okay.
It's got like a giant feather.
All right.
He has a cape, but he does that thing where he like takes the edge of the cape and then like tosses it over his shoulder for no fucking reason.
What does Samuel Jennings look like, Todd?
But he is, of course, dressed in all black. He has his priest collar, his reverend's collar, whatever you want. What do you call that thing?
Neck wedge.
Neck wedge.
Yes.
Well, that's what we're calling it now.
That was as far as I got in the seminary. Found out what that was called, and I was like, fuck that, I'm out.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Done.
Well, I didn't even find out you couldn't fuck.
He is also also wearing one of those round wide brim hats that were very popular with the clergy in those days, and also
Poltergeist 2.
sported by the preacher in Poltergeist 2.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going.
God damn it.
You're all gonna die.
Let me in to your ball.
So, Corey, what is Emma wearing?
Frills.
Sure.
There's hoity-toitery, a bit of fringe, a tassel. There's dress components. There's a giant lollipop. She's on a skateboard.
We'll assume she's dressed appropriately for the occasion.
Right.
He's gonna do some sick kick flips.
Nobody can tell because it's under her dress.
Right.
So the three of you reach the head of the line, and you're introduced to Sir James Northlake and Lady Lydia Northlake. They greet you. Welcome to our home.
Oh, Lady Lydia, so wonderful to meet you. Do you have any history of heart disease in your family?
She answers that she does not seem to understand your question.
We
Okay,
are
nice meeting you. Moving on. Hello.
We are so grateful that you invited us to your ball. And I am the Reverend Samuel Jennings, and I have just one question for you. Have you asked the Lord Jesus to come into your heart?
Oh, goodness gracious, wouldn't dream of it. Thank you for coming.
Emma leans over and gently whispers into James' ear, "You can binge watch my Twin Peaks anytime if you catch my drift."
James Bennett tips his gargantuan hat.
Oh, good God.
It's my pleasure to meet you folks. Is there a place I might set up my merch table?
I believe the hors d'oeuvres in there. Don't know what merch is. Have
Oh,
some
I can
from-
set up in there. James Bennett has this like leather satchel that looks like a doctor's case, but when he opens it up, it like springs open like Ichabod Crane's shit, and like there's a gigantic setup of like just all sorts of tchotchkes and stuff like that.
I don't understand what to do with it. Thank you for these fine gifts. Someone take this away.
Oh wait, that's not what I'm. Okay.
And some servants come and just take all of it, assuming you're just giving this to the Northlake family. You can hear it being dumped in a dumpster. Just this crashing sound. Enjoy yourselves. And you are ushered into the grand ballroom.
What do we notice about the layout of the place?
Well, I'll tell you the one thing that the Reverend Samuel Jennings notices is he does not approve of all of this dancing.
Well,
So the ballroom is quite grand. Its high ceiling rising to the full height of the house. It has large French windows opening onto the gardens. A refreshment table along one wall provides canapes and some light desserts. There's servants on hand roaming with trays of either cordial, non-alcoholic fruit punch, or wine, as you prefer.
excuse me, wine boy. Over here, it's me, Miss Emma. Hello. Thank you for the wine. You can Jennifer Jason Miley anytime you'd like.
Dear Lord Jesus in heaven, I come to you on bended knee just to ask for your strength and your love and to build a hedge of protection around me in case these people start cutting footloose.
Tell me more about this Jesus.
Silence, harlot.
He can call of my duty. Black Ops.
There's a orchestra in the one wing, begins
Oh.
playing, and various guests begin filtering out to the dance floor.
Do they take requests? They can scalp my Radiohead tickets any day.
So
She's horny. That's what I'm going for here with this character.
the ballroom is full of guests dancing and drinking, eating. There's also people filtering through the other rooms of the Northlake Hall. You have yet to see the guest of honor, Miss Elizabeth Northlake. She's yet to appear in the ballroom.
James is going to see if there's a way to join the queue of folks that are touring kind of in and out of the various rooms in the mansion.
Sure, you can just walk around. There's
Okay.
no...
Emma will also mingle with the singles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you trying to gather any information in particular or just enjoying yourself?
Sure.
Okay. So, Corey, you could roll etiquette to try to engage a group in conversation to learn more about the Northlakes and
Okay.
their past.
Will do. My etiquette is 30. That's an 83. She might have made a few faux pas in her innuendo. She just goes straight up to people. You can add Jabba to my special edition anytime.
Most of the young men and ladies that you approach are horrified at your brazenness, except for one weird guy.
Oh.
But it's not the kind of guy that you want. It's like the weirdest dude, and he's got a weird face. Smells like desecrated lavender.
What? Oh.
It's bad.
Interesting. He can spay and neuter my pet anytime.
That's an Axe flavor.
Desecrated lavender from Axe.
So the Reverend Samuel Jennings is going to use his persuade to go to the band and get them to play something religious to see how everyone reacts to it. Let's go with Ave Maria.
Oh, okay.
I think that has been composed by this time, has it?
Sure, we'll say
Interesting.
in this world.
I mean,
To see if anybody just starts.
yeah, exactly. See if anybody like fucking Cthulhu's out, right?
Yeah.
Ex Cthulhu.
Yeah.
You don't have to roll for that. They will gladly take that. It's a favorite.
It's been in the charts.
Yeah. The audience seems to enjoy it. There are a couple of Ave Maria heads there, as they call them. But you don't see anyone who experiences discomfort or vomits pea soup or anything of that nature.
Well, damn.
So, Austin...
Yeah, so I'm going to be kind of investigating these rooms. What I'm looking for specifically, Kyle, is to see if the architecture doesn't add up to the square footage. So, like, for example, if any rooms are smaller than what they should be, basically looking for any secret hiding spots or passageways.
Is this like House of Leaves or something? Is that the name?
Yes.
So, Austin, you can make an intelligence check for Mr. Bennett.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So Bennett has an intelligence of 70,
What?
right?
Poet?
He's a poet.
Competency?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yes. Well, I rolled a 91.
You're just a miracle.
I am.
Like I'm in awe of you sometimes.
It really is. It really is. It's something I'm proud of at this point.
Wow.
I can only be.
I mean, they should be doing studies on this shit.
Right?
Kyle,
We should take him to Vegas. I mean, put him on the craps table.
you guys ever seen the movie The Cooler?
Yes.
So, Kyle, I seem to remember there were ways to push ourselves in previous Call of Cthulhu sessions. Is there a way to apply that here to maybe get a re-roll or something?
So there could be, but there's also an optional rule in the Call of Cthulhu Keeper rulebook called Spending Luck. The way that works is you can spend points from your luck stat, kind of in the same way that they were spent in Cyberpunk Red. So, for example, Austin, what's your current luck?
So I have a starting luck of 55. I've not used any so far.
Okay, and you rolled a 91, and your goal was 70.
Just 70.
So you could spend 21 luck points
Okay.
and effectively add that to your intelligence to make your roll a success.
Okay. I'm absolutely going to do that.
Of course, that reduces your luck.
So I'm down to 34.
All right, so wandering the halls of Northlake, Mr. Bennett makes an interesting discovery. In one section of the building, there are two corridors that run roughly parallel to one another. One is a servant's corridor, and it clearly it opens onto the back of the house, provides access to the dining room and the kitchen, and the back stairs leading to upper floors. The other is just a long corridor. It does exit onto the back of the house, and it starts in the small parlor, what it's called, where you're standing now. But there's no other doors. It appears very old brickwork. It's well lit. There's fine paintings. And unless you miss your guess, the long corridor, even though these two hallways should be exactly the same length, the long corridor is slightly longer than the servants' corridor.
So I can tell that it doesn't like circle around the back.
No, these
It's
are
just long and blank and ends in a door that leads out back.
yeah, these are perfectly straight. You can look down at each one of them. They open roughly onto the same spots. The house doesn't have some weird curve. They should be exactly the same length. There's no rational reason that the long corridor is longer.
Gotcha. And I'm assuming I can't like run down the corridor.
I mean,
You could trip.
I think you can.
I mean,
Might be like that castle staircase in Mario 64 before you got 75 stars.
what? I don't know.
I haven't made an obscure reference in a while. I got an itch.
You nailed it. Yeah, you can run down it. There's a few people, party guests in discreet conversations, but otherwise it's...
Okay, so Bennett separates himself from the group and just starts kind of meandering with his hands folded behind him like he's looking up at all the paintings and stuff and starts to move slowly down the hallway.
So so you notice a few other things. The long corridor's door to the garden, the back of the house, has a lock and stout bolts at the top and bottom. The bolts do not look like they've been used in some time. There's a matching lock on the servants' corridor, but no bolts. And the door to the small parlor from the long corridor also has a lock and the kind of shading that implies that there were stout bolts at some point on that door. But they've been subsequently been removed and painted over. It would be very unusual for an interior doorway to have that kind of anti-intruder device.
And the doors are shrieking in Latin.
Yes, they're screaming at you.
It's disconcerting.
Okay, so then this hallway is open access, but there is just evidence at both ends of the passageways to this hallway being sealed off for long periods of time.
That would be possible. Yes.
Okay.
Definitely old.
Yeah.
Yeah. This also the construction of this long corridor seems older than the rest of the house.
Okay. But I can pass freely from one end to the other?
Yeah, there are people walking in and out of it.
Okay. I'm going to move out into the garden area out back.
meanwhile, the Reverend Samuel Jennings is at the wine table getting shit hammered.
All right. So, Corey, the weird guy is trying to get Emma to go out of the gardens to explore the maze.
Emma goes.
He says, I'm not saying I know my way around the maze, but I've been lost 7 times.
Wonderful. Let's play a game where you disappear into the maze and I'll try to find you and then we can smooch or something. Yes. She has no intention of following him into the maze.
Then, yeah, so you could persuade or charm, I think would work here.
Okay, I'm going to use my charm then because that's higher. I have 55 in charm.
All right.
Obviously.
I mean, if you
Have
fail...
have you not seen her game?
Yeah. Yeah, if you fail, he's...
We're betrothed.
You have to marry him.
He does it, but she takes a wrong turn and blunders into the maze, and they find each other.
And are ripped apart by a minotaur. Okay. Got it.
I mean, you weren't gonna be, but that's pretty rad.
I mean,
Okay, got a 55 in charm. That is a 2.
Nice. Holy
Whoa.
shit, Corey.
He goes and starts unbuttoning his coat and running into the maze.
So that's like one of the amazing successes. So could I say that earlier that day I dug some punji pits in the and some other elaborate traps, like a spring-mounted survival knife that.
No, you can't.
Emma scouted the
She
maze.
can't have set up a trap for some just poor moron.
she's an ancestor of John Rambo.
That's right.
But he does disgrace himself because he runs off yelling, "We're gonna make out!"
She actually fed the beast. We suddenly see the maze descend into the stone.
Everything's fine. So yeah, Emma has let the moron go off, and she turns around and sees Bennett coming out of the long corridor.
Ahoy.
Oh, hello, my dear.
Meanwhile, Samuel continues to drink.
Yeah, he blunders over and finds himself playing cards with a bunch of Englishmen.
Yes, he has a 50 in sleight of hand.
Holy shit.
I mean, you could totally try to cheat at cards.
That's what I'm gonna do.
All right.
All right, so my sleight of hand is 50. I'm trying
Okay.
to roll under that. Oh, that's a 71. But you know what? I'm going to use my luck, which is at 35. That's 21 luck points.
So while playing cards, and he plays cards for late into the evening. One of your primary opponents is Miss Elizabeth Northlake. This is her coming out party, meaning that she is entering English society as an available for suitors. Her father will now entertain offers of marriage. But for the moment, she's playing cards with the Reverend and a number of other esteemed people and would be available for questions. So, Todd, she is attractive, energetic, and obviously privileged, but does not seem to be too arrogant, an example of the English aristocracy. She's quite good at cards, and every once in a while gives you the raised eyebrow of, I know you're cheating, and you know you're cheating, but I'm also winning, so I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, Lord forgive me, but you remind me so much of my sister Grace. Have I told you about my sister Grace?
Oh, Lord.
No.
They say it was the influenza what killed her, but I know it's the quinine. It's the big quinine. That's what killed her. It's a whole cabal. And sitting at the top is President James Madison.
She just nods, takes your wine glass, hands it to a servant who comes back with a glass of water.
Well,
So Bennett comes back through the garden doors and makes his way across the ballroom, eventually sauntering over to the card table.
So all that the Todd just said, you witnessed that, except whereas Todd was enunciating it, Jennings is more like, that was a James Madison burned down an orphanage. And it's the viruses, they got jet skis.
Okay.
Just hammered. But he does have, is bumbled into getting Miss Elizabeth Northlake as a fairly captive audience.
Oh, hey, this is my friend Bennett.
She stands up, oh, Mr. Bennett, I'm charmed.
Bennett sweeps his gigantic hat to the side again, knocking over a couple of people, and takes her hand and holds it near his mouth but doesn't kiss it, and says, pleased to make your acquaintance, madam.
All right, yeah, she is taken with Mr. Bennett's
Oh,
bizarre dress.
the easiest it's ever been.
She's a vampire. No. No, she's a normal 16-year-old girl. So what questions are you going to try to ask her? Corey, is Emma there, or is she leading someone else into the maze of death?
Cal, I'm glad you asked. Because at this very moment, you hear, oh! And everybody turns and sees Emma clearing the dance floor. Because she has a 55 in dancing.
Okay.
She's getting ready to fuck shit up.
What's your goal here? Just to impress?
Well, yeah, but also to maybe like draw the attention of some fine single gentleman.
Sure.
This isn't purely for romance purposes. She also wants to get some information from someone,
Right.
And to kind of impress the Northlakes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'll roll then.
All right.
That's a 26.
Nice.
So that's actually the middle.
Hard success.
Yeah. She starts with the centipede.
One esteemed young gentleman is impressed. Mr. Scott Schreffler.
Oh.
Lord Schreffler, as they call him. Of Schrefflerton.
What? Oh, Lord Schreffler.
I'm Scott!
Oh, charmed.
You dance good.
Yes, I know. Well, you know what they say about people who can dance. They can...
Dance!
Yes. Scott, let's cut to the chase. Scott, I'm an enlightened woman, and as you can see, I'm getting on in age. I'm 17 now, and...
I like olds.
I'll cut right to the chase. Scott, you can Batman my v Superman : Dawn of Justice anytime.
You can steal my magnolias.
Oh, interesting. A feminist.
How long have you had that cocked and loaded?
Scott, how well do you know the Northlakes?
Not so good. Papa sent me down here. Find wife. I've been here 1 week.
Really?
Yes. I see lots of things with my eyes.
Oh, really? Well, what sort of things have you noticed around this beautiful house then, Scott?
Dark omens.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Such as?
Nearby farmer had a cow born. Calf, 2 heads. Died.
Oh, well.
A rooster crowing at noon.
Oh. That's very odd, Scott.
And in the pond, there were 3 ducks.
3 ducks, you say?
They tasted like bats.
Bats, you say, Scott?
Yes.
It's very interesting.
I got a feather stuck in my teeth.
Well, you're supposed to pluck first, Scott. You know this.
Yes, that's what Papa says.
Scott, have you noticed any rooms or passageways in particular that might give you the heebie-jeebies?
The long corridor is haunted.
Oh, really? Why's that?
'Cause it's scary.
Have you seen anything have you seen a ghost?
No, I saw it and I ran away.
A ghost, you say?
No, the long corridor.
Oh, I see. Well, they say the simple are affected by Cthulhu more than most. Well,
Papa says beware old stones. An old stone killed Grandma.
really? Oh, well, it's hard for the olds out there. She must have been 28 or something. But
It was thrown by a Scotsman.
well, Scott, I must be moving on.
Want to get married and go to France?
Perhaps I'll meet with you later on in the evening at the other event, and we'll see if you can surrender at my Appomattox, if you know what I mean.
That hasn't happened yet.
Or has it?
But you can be my Waterloo. Also hasn't happened. So, yeah, no, he conveys that he's creeped out by the long corridor. Doesn't know why.
Okay.
Austin, what questions is Mr. Bennett asking of the young Miss Elizabeth Northlake?
So she's still playing cards, or has she wrapped that up?
She just left her hand on the table and walked away.
Oh, okay.
She's playing dominoes now.
Reverend Jennings is still playing.
Bennett holds out his arm with which to kind of escort her around the ballroom as they talk.
She puts her hand on it very lightly and titters. Corey, can you titter? Like that. Know the talents of your players, GM.
Thanks.
What are mine, Kyle?
Moving on.
So Bennett walks with Elizabeth. Well, I'm very pleased to be here at your coming out party.
She says something non-committal and vaguely complimentary.
Are you excited to be joining society proper?
Oh, yes. It's very exciting.
Do you live here in the mansion yourself?
She gives you a very confused look, as opposed to not with my parents.
Well, really just meaning
Like she lives in a trailer out back.
as soon as she turned 16, they gave her a plot in a trailer.
See that double wide across the pond? That's mine.
Well, I apologize. I'm a poet. I don't know how rich folk work.
Agreed.
Well, I must admit, I'm a bit starstruck getting to meet you because there's such talk around town about the enigmatic Northlakes. People find you charming and mysterious.
Oh, really?
Hey, Kyle, if you need me to titter, just wink. I'll be your Foley guy.
So Austin, you can try to make. Do you have charm?
I don't.
Okay.
Of course.
Sure.
Of course not.
Why would
Right.
you ask that?
Why would a poet have
He's
charm?
a poet.
Wait, Bennett? Hang on. No, I don't.
We'll roll it.
Okay. So that's a standard 15%. Oh, I rolled a 28. That's enough to spend some luck on.
Okay.
So then that brings me down to 21.
Well, I don't put much truck in the curse.
The curse? What do you mean curse?
Oh, it's just pish posh.
Oh, I'm fascinated by local folklore. Please tell me about it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You blinked. I thought it was a wink.
I'm a man of culture myself. I love to listen to people talk about their own legends, their own cultures, and then write about them.
So she goes on to explain that there's a local legend that every 100 years, the heir to the Northlake estate dies mysteriously. Some claim they're sacrificed, others murdered for nefarious purposes. Some claim that they are taken by monsters into unearthly realms.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to bring up such traumatic legendary. Do you find this interesting, or is it a distressing kind of secret the family holds?
Oh, it's just nonsense.
Kind of a fun tradition?
This age of
It sounds like a blast.
enlightenment.
Gather
and-
around the Christmas tree, children. Let's talk about the murders of our ancestors. Yes. Chestnuts.
has no place in this age of enlightenment and science.
Oh, I quite agree. Would you mind showing me around the mansion?
Oh, not at all. So she shows you around Northlake Hall. She shows you The main floor, most of which you've already been, she takes you upstairs to where the bedrooms and a parlor and a study and so on and forth. And we'll take you around the house. Is there any areas you want to look into specifically?
Well, I'd love to see if she would tour the long corridor with Bennett.
Yeah, she
and just
will
to
eventually
see what she says.
Yeah, so she does, and at the end she says, it's strange, but I would have sworn that this corridor is longer than it was yesterday. Isn't that funny?
Oh, yes, that is quite strange.
It's very creepy. So that's generally the extent. She just answers questions about her family and takes you around, but...
I mean, is there anything else about this corridor you find creepy? Like, does it have any connection to the legends surrounding your family?
I don't think so. It's the oldest part of the house.
Oh, really?
Well, yes, and she goes on to explain some of the history that you'd already uncovered, that when the Tudor mansion, one of her ancestors inherited, was demolished, the long corridor was part of the house that was kept. And she doesn't know quite why.
Well, most homes you start corridor and build around it.
Sure, classic.
Yeah.
That happens all the time here in the U.S.
Well, that's why we seceded. Is that what we did?
Yes, the Revolutionary War was all about corridors.
Yeah, the corridor attacks.
No more corridors starting.
The Boston Corridor Party.
Just throwing corridors into the sea.
So Bennett completes his tour, walks around with Elizabeth. He escorts her back to the ballroom.
Austin, tip her.
Well, I'll let you get back to your party, but I appreciate you showing me around the house and telling me about your distressing history. I know someone like you is not normally seen with the likes of me, but I can assure you, Mish, and he pulls a card. He has cards made as a poet.
Sure.
If there's anything you need, you can rely upon me.
Oh, thank you, I think.
One of my most treasured possessions is my E.E. Cummings card.
So it's later in the evening. The party has dwindled. There's only a few people still cutting a rug with Emma on the dance floor.
She's doing the robot.
Yeah. Most of the guests have departed, going back to their homes or their whatever inn they were staying at in Terryford. Bennett and Elizabeth are saying their goodbyes. You're in the gardens on the back of the house. Go your separate ways, and then the night is broken by a blood-curdling scream. There's a sound of shattering glass coming from the kitchens. So everyone hears this in the ballroom and in the gardens. Bennett is running that way, I assume?
Yeah, Bennett's going to try and get there first.
Oh, it's the end of the potty scream. Good night, all. Good night.
The Samuel Jennings has also heard it, and he is also running in that direction.
Okay. Jennings stumbles toward that way. Bennett runs by the kitchens, sees confused servants looking down the servants' corridors towards the front of the house. He continues on. And in the small parlor, which is where you initially started your investigation of the long corridor, there is a maid, disheveled. Her dress is ripped. She's got some blood on her, but it looks like superficial injuries. The window in the front of the house has been shattered, and she is distraught. There's a few people there looking around, and she's just shrieking, "The monster! The monster!"
Quickly, give us some air. Give us some air. And Bennett sweeps off his hat, knocks down 10 more people, and runs to the maid's side.
Okay.
Emma runs to the maid and tries to comfort her. My dear, what monster? Now, what is all this, Tip-Tip?
She tries to kiss you full on the lips. No.
Oh, hello. Well, you can my dinner with Andre anytime.
The Reverend Samuel Jennings is going to use his listen, which is a 50, to just stand back and hear everything that's happening.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. So who's trying to calm the maid?
Actually, the Reverend Samuel Jennings has a 50 in reassure, so he is going to comfort the maid.
Okay.
Oh, that's a 96.
Hey.
Slapping the maid does not work.
Well, that's the way of the Southern Baptists.
It's not like in the stories.
This always worked in Mississippi.
Jennings, put that broomstick away.
Emma brushes the Reverend away and tries to comfort her, wraps her arms around her.
Okay. What skill are you using?
Credit rating. I have a 60. No.
Pass her some money.
Emma has reassure as well. It's a 30, so she'll go ahead and try that. That's an 11.
Nice.
Good Lord, your dice are hot.
Yeah. So that's actually a badass success. The level 3.
So she calms herself and she points to the door to the long corridor. Says, "It came that way. It was hairy and eyes, and something was wrong with its arms, and it screeched at us, and it grabbed Mary and jumped through the window and ran."
Mary, you say? Who's Mary, dear?
Mary Hill.
Oh, no.
She's another maid and a Patreon member.
Well, did you see what happened to Mary?
It carried her off. It was some great beast.
Where did
She points towards the wood line. Sir James is there. Most preposterous. Likely some hoodlum. Perhaps a barbarian, ruffian, maybe an American.
Or a Scotsman?
Or a Scotsman. Good God, it could have been a... Someone
yes.
get my sword!
They're everywhere this time of year.
Good luck coming down from the hills with that kilts.
Bennett is going to go to the doorway of the long corridor.
Okay.
I'm going to do something I didn't think to do earlier, which is examining the corridor. Can I use spot hidden to see if I can gain any more insight about the corridor itself?
You could definitely try.
Okay. We'll have a spot hidden of 45. All right. I rolled a 34.
It is slightly longer than it was at the beginning of the evening. Not a lot, but you could tell it's longer than it was before.
Oh, okay. Nothing else about it changed? Like if I go down to the end of it, there's not now a doorway on the section that's longer?
No.
Okay.
But everyone is talking to the maid. She's calmer now, insisting it was some hideous monster, but everyone is telling her, no, it must have just been some ne'er-do-well. And, the other thing that you put together, or that Bennett puts together, is that the long corridor is literally a long corridor. It has a garden entrance and an entrance onto the small parlor. There's no way anyone could have got into the long corridor, ran down it, got out through the small parlor without it having to pass directly by Elizabeth and Bennett when they were talking in the garden. And he feels like he would have noticed a giant monster.
Yeah. Is Elizabeth there?
No, she has disappeared.
Okay. Is there anything else to be done with the maid? I'm assuming just going to the window and looking out at the wood line is not going to reveal a whole lot.
No, but Sir James is looking for volunteers to go track this ruffian into the woods.
I volunteer.
Oh, James is going? Yes, I'll be here.
So a few other gentlemen are volunteering, and everybody's drunk.
I mean, you don't start a good posse without that first.
No.
Right.
Servants are bringing out torches. Sir James has a sword that looks like it was last used in the War of 1712.
Oh.
Sir James has this is my ceremonial posse pitchfork.
And he has a candelabra that he's just carrying around.
Oh, that's interesting.
Nice.
And you set off into the darkness of the woods of the Northlake estate. I assume the three of you are traveling roughly together.
Yes.
Everyone breaks up yelling, "Mary! Mary, shout if you can hear me!"
Mary.
As we travel, Bennett's going to make sure and share everything that he's learned with the group.
Same.
Do you guys have any weapons?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
No.
Wait, you don't have one and Emma does? I've
Yeah.
got a flintlock pistol.
I'm a poet.
Emma's back in heat?
No.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Seriously, all the Reverend has is brawl.
Yeah, that's what I have.
That is listed as a weapon.
Emma has that
Brawl.
as well.
Kyle, do they distribute weapons at all for the hunting party?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Well, everybody just thinks it's just some guy.
Okay. If Bennett looks around for something handy to keep at his side, does he find anything?
Roll your luck.
Anything from a truncheon to like a pitchfork? Luck?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to beat a 21.
Meanwhile, Emma's leg opens up like RoboCop and her flintlock pistol pops out. And she's like, ready?
All right, I'm trying to beat a 21. Yeah, it's a 74. So
You find some handkerchiefs.
very appropriate for a poet.
So the three of you, it is late in the evening already. The moon is high. Wandering through the dark woods, you have a torch, or the servants did distribute torches
Bennett's sprinkling handkerchiefs like breadcrumbs as they go through the woods.
to find your way back.
That's smart, actually.
Yeah.
And you hear a sound. A twig snaps. You see a deer, dead, carcass, ripped in half.
Oi!
Entrails spread all over the ground, still steaming in the cool of the night. And then a screeching sound, and you see this coming out of the darkness.
Oh, good lord.
It is a vaguely humanoid form, but without a head. The face instead is on the chest. It has great eyes, a huge gaping maw, and twisted arms that end in sharp claws. It screeches, and we'll roll for initiative next session.
Single?
You see no sign of Mary Hill.
What about a ring?
Obviously not wearing a ring, so.
The monster is single.
Right.
The horror from the dark realm.
He can castrate my bull.
Anyway, so that is one more episode of Regency Cthulhu in the bank. I think next session you guys will come to the head of the mystery and figure out that it was the butler all along.
Oh, okay.
No. So this is Call of Cthulhu, Regency Cthulhu. We've been having a good time with it. Thank you to all of our Patreon members. A few of them appeared as characters in this episode.
It's true.
Most notably Scott Treffler, and of course Mary Hill was kidnapped. I'm sure she won't die ignominiously.
Mary Hill has a rough time on our podcast.
Yeah, she
Sorry,
really
Mary.
does.
She's still technically alive right now, this character. This version, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
But thank you to our Patreon members. We really appreciate it. It keeps us going, keeps us motivated. And thank you to our sponsor,
Barrel and Bond.
Hey, 100 Broadway, downtown Paducah. They got bourbon and other things.
But mainly bourbon.
The bathroom keeps getting longer.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Stretches into the
Weird.
distance.
Yeah.
There's just
You gotta go through a bush maze every time you try to find it.
I'm just saying, bring a snack. You're gonna get hungry and winded.
In addition to a snack, bring some handkerchiefs to
Yes.
drop and find your way out.
Find your way out. Every time I go, there's just one more urinal.
Just tie it around the handle.
So, and thank you, listener. We appreciate you listening.
Listener, that's probably accurate.
Yeah, one of you by this point.
No, you guys have been very vocal, and it's wonderful to hear from y'all. So if anybody wants to holler at us, please do on any of the social medias, or swing by Austin's. We'll give you his address.
Also, thank you to all the people that have left us ratings on iTunes or Spotify or elsewhere. We have definitely noticed, and your names are on a list. No, but we do appreciate it. Thank you if you've left a review.
Yep.
And if you haven't, you still can. There's still
Your
time.
name is on a list.
Join us next week for more Regency Cthulhu. And after that, we've got eventually some Fallout. Austin's going to run some Fallout in the near future.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It'll be the Fallout 2D20 system from Odysseus.
Yeah.
We may have something special coming before then, but who can say? Who can say what the future holds?
Yeah, I'll be excited to run my first adventure.
Yeah,
You guys have never one shot killed an enemy, but you're going to do it when I'm the one rolling for the GM.
Oh, well, that's true. Oh, God, I didn't even think about that. This is going to be great.
No, I'm very excited for the Fallout game. The starter adventure is kind of a microcosm of the entire experience of Fallout. I'm super excited to take you guys through it, especially because I think none of you have played that game, right?
No.
I've seen Mission Impossible Fallout.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening. I'm Kyle.
I'm Todd.
Corey.
Austin.
People to listen to us,